Okay, this is a demo of the Orenda AI interface. It runs fully local, open source. As you can see, got airplane mode. There's no internet connection. Before I boot the server, let's go through the architecture real quick. It is inspired by human brain in terms of naming convention and some of the concepts. But the inputs go to their respective cortices. So mic input goes to the audio cortex, camera input goes to the visual cortex. Analysis is done there at those two cortices, and then they go into the temporal lobe, which creates like a unified state from the sensory inputs. And then that is fed into the prefrontal cortex, which then processes those inputs with the LLM and gives the output that goes to the UI, as well as the text is fed to the speech to text processor. Visual cortex runs off of Moondream for its VLM, YOLO for object classification. Audio cortex is using speech brain, as well as Whisper. The text to speech is done with Kokoro, and the LLM is Qwen 2.5 instruct 7 billion parameter. So let me boot the model. Boot the server. While it's going, it is running on a Windows machine, dual GPUs. There are two 5000 series cards. When it's fully loaded, it uses about 20 gigs of VRAM between the two cards. The regular RAM in the about 10 gigs range, because on top of what's being used at the moment. And the CPU is going to go anywhere from 30 to 80% usage.
Hello, my name is Jarvis. All my systems are now online. My interface is now being served on HTTP//localhost on port 5000.
I lied about the internet, obviously, because I see internet data. There we go. No internet. Okay. When hears you talking, it turns green. If you click on the floating eye, this is sort of like the utility or the config section. This means nothing. That's just for fun. But this is the model system prompt. You could edit that, and it will update the model in real time. But I haven't actually implemented too much of this, but that's how you would configure the model itself while it's running. You can see the live outputs from the VLM as well as the live output from the audio analysis. I will say that it seems a little wonky trying to make a video and run it on the same machine, so I'm going to go sort of slow. The input takes two forms, text, so let's start with tell me a joke. You can see
Sure,
it's
here's a
streaming
joke for you.
tokens. It sends
Why was the
text.
math book sad? Because it had too many problems.
Just in terms of the text to speech, what it does is once it has generated a full sentence, it sends that to the text to speech transcriber, and then it basically queues up all of the sentences for speaking. That way you get close to real time in terms of it's generating tokens while it's also sending text to speech, for the text to this text to speech worker. All right, the name can be anything. It happens to be I'm going to say the name in a second, what it is. And then if you want to lock, you say its name, start talking, and then it'll interact with you. To unlock, say its name and say goodbye. And to interrupt, you would say enough and then its name. So, Jarvis, can you tell me another joke? Jarvis, can you tell me another joke?
Of course, here. S another one for you. Why did the tomato turn red? Because it saw the salad dressing.
Great, funny joke. Could you now tell me a bedtime story?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Here's a bedtime story for you. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a wise old owl named Hoot.
Enough,
Hoot was
Jarvis.
known throughout the village for
Goodbye, Jarvis. All right, so now you can see here in the UI
goodbye, have a
that it's
great
unlocked from my
day.
voice, so it's not going to respond anymore. And that's it.